See, this is why I shouldn't do videos like this. I get too passionately like into these pairings. I do not have a Valentine this year, so I thought that I would make a video celebrating all of the pairings that I love that are fictional. I have so many favorites. This is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg. I love to ship. I'll probably do another part of this one day, but for now, we're gonna start here. Some of these are endgame couples. Some of these are just ones that I think if we lived in a perfect world, they would have ended up together. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's get to it. First up, we have Stefan and Elena from the Vampire Diaries. Okay, listen to me. When this show first came out, I was obsessed with them. I really don't care enough to get into like the debate of like Stefan and Elena or Damon and Elena, because I frankly stopped watching the show when Damon and Elena started happening. I mean, I guess I could tell you how much I did not like it. I don't think it would be my list of some of my favorite fictional couples if I did not mention Raven and Devon from That's So Raven. I was obsessed with them. They got together, like got married and had kids in Raven's home. Danny and Zaf from Take a Hint, Danny Brown. Now this one is kind of a squinter because do I really love Danny and Zaf together? Not really, because I more want to be Danny so that I can have Zaf. He's my book boyfriend. Sorry, Danny. Corey and Topanga from Boy Meets World. Perfect story of like childhood friends to lovers, and then they got married and had kids, and like I love that for them, especially with all of the topics that Boy Meets World covered. It was just really nice to see a couple that could be so honest with each other and grow together, and that's like the high school sweetheart story you want, you know what I'm saying? And like they had such a solid foundation even though they were so different. I cannot forget this Boy Meets World couple, so iconic. Sean and Angela. Sean and Angela were just the perfect pairing. I don't know, as a kid I knew they had something special, those two together, and I loved their episodes where they got more spotlight. I loved seeing their little moments in the background. Well, for me, one of the biggest disappointments of Girl Meets World was the fact that they took the time to have the actress who plays Angela come on the show and then verify that they aren't gonna end up together. What are you saying? Even in that episode when she came, they had so much chemistry, and like I was just like, this makes no sense. How can you have two people who clearly still love each other, who like it just understand it didn't make sense. Laura Jean and Peter from To All the Boys I Loved Before. Now I know everyone has their opinions on the To All the Boys I Loved Before series, but I have to say I love it. It holds up for me. I don't care. It's my series. It is my movie series. It is my book series. I have watched the movies over and over again multiple times. I just really love them together, and I think that the book is just such an experience because you see so much of their relationship and their dynamic, and I wish that more of that stuff could have gotten put into the movies, because I think especially with the way that the first movie was directed, that would have just been beautiful to see. So iconic, and just everything about it just gives you the feels. The chemistry between Lana Condor and Noah Centineo, they have crazy chemistry. Peter in the books loved Laura Jean. Like I like he was not great at communicating, but I think that Peter definitely is the type who would drive as far as he needed to go if Laura Jean wanted to see him, if he wanted to see Laura Jean for a date, for anything. He would drive the distance for her. I totally believe it. I don't know if Laura Jean and Peter would get married, to be quite honest with you, but in a weird way, I feel like they could be like one of those couples that like are together in high school, go apart, go their separate ways, and then come back together. That's what I could see for them. Definitively, I don't know, but I love them. Now we're going to do the One Tree Hill couples. Oh my. Okay, One Tree Hill, iconic show, soap style from early 2000s. I do not remember really watching this show while it was airing. I think I was too young at the time to watch this. I don't think my mom probably would have let me. First pairing is of course Nathan and Haley. Nathan and Haley are like mom and dad. Like they are the staple couple of this show. I have a love-hate with that because as much as I love them, I kind of wish we could have explored more pairings with them. I wish they could have been like more involved in like the you know, like let's see these two together, these two together, these two together for like half a season, you know what I'm saying? They're also just one of those very like unlikely pairings that just kind of ended up working out. The next couple is obviously going into the Lucas Peyton, Lucas Brooke debate, and I have to say I was team Lucas and Brooke. I was. And they had such great chemistry, which I guess made sense because the actors in real life were actually together also at one point. Kaz and Inej from Six of Crows. Of course this pairing has to be in here. They're a very subtle pairing in the books. I feel like if you aren't really like squinting hard enough, you might miss some things. You might. If you know how to read between the lines like I do. They are such a good pairing. I just love that they really have like such an understanding and respect for each other and their boundaries and the things that they have been through. They are so down for each other though, like you do not mess with. That's the one person you aren't going to mess with today. Not in front of me. Let me find out you screwed them over. Oh, you have another thing coming. They are literally the definition of that for each other. And I know that show is not going to give me enough of what I want. I wish the Crows just had their own show because then I could get all of the moments that I want and I wouldn't have to sit here and just suffer through the other half of the story. We aren't here to talk about that. Oh, this next pairing is something serious. Like when I tell you I was obsessed, I was obsessed. Now this pairing from Sex Education, I saw this clip on Twitter and I had to squint. I had to do a double take. I know that's not who I think it is. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? I lost myself the moment I saw them and I watched a fan video and I was obsessed. Little backstory, I watched season 1 of Sex Education because everyone was raving about the show. I thought it was good, but I hated Otis and Maeve. I thought, okay, that makes sense, but something about it just doesn't give me life. I was like, I'm not gonna suffer through another season. And I am pissed off to this day that no one told me that Ruby and Otis kind of started at the end of season 2. They did more for them in the short time that they were together than they did for Maeve and Otis in all 3 seasons. Anyways, Otis and Ruby gave me life. I was like, I need to read the fan fiction. And so I feel like I've read almost every single Otis and Ruby fan fiction there is. So funny enough, probably my earliest ship. I started watching this franchise at a young age. So I would like to think that this is probably the first ship that I actually realized I wanted to end up together. Harry and Hermione from Harry Potter. I firmly believe that they should have ended up together and it made more sense. Do I think they were like perfect in what we were presented in their high school years? No, of course not. I had to pick someone for Harry Potter. I don't know. I don't think that I could find a girl who was more down for him than Hermione. Not even that I argue about any of the pairings that happened in the books. Like, hey, you date who you want. I think it's healthy to have a few relationships, you know. Do I think that any of those couples should have made it to the altar? Hell no. Reproduce? Hell no. Are you kidding me? I think the names that Harry Potter gave his children are enough of a red flag to let you know something was not right at home. There's another situation where I feel like I was lied to. I had a roommate in college who was obsessed with Friends, and she made us watch it. Everyone in the room was hyping up Ross and Rachel, and I was just like, okay, yeah, because I watch TV. I know that people talk about Ross and Rachel a lot whenever they list like iconic couples and things like that. But I had never actually watched the series to know like the foundation and the start and everything like that. So, why was I lied to? Ross and Rachel are not the shining couple of that series. The shining couple, in my opinion, is like undoubtedly Monica and Chandler. Like I just, oh my god. I don't talk about Friends to Lovers often, but when it hits, it hits. They are just like very different, and you wouldn't think that they would work. After rewatching the series a few times, they just, oh my gosh, they had so much foreshadow. At times you pick up that they always would tell each other things and they'd be like, oh my gosh, why'd you tell my secret? And no one else knows except them. They probably have so many moments together that you never know about, especially since they lived right across the hall from each other. Just such a good, healthy relationship, and the way that they communicated, the way that they just kind of grew together. We're also like very like attracted to each other sexually, and I was just like, wow, this is actually kind of fun. I feel like I should mention Mike and Phoebe because I also really like them. They were really cute. I thought that they made so much sense, and I just liked how down they were for each other, and they were just kind of like, yeah, Cool. Monica and Richard too, even though that one was like, yeah, but that's all for Friends. There was another show that I was really obsessed with back in the day, Misfits. It's about these kids who were like doing community service, and there's a storm, and all of a sudden all these people had superpowers, and this group of kids happened to get the superpowers. And Simon and Alicia are part of the group, and Simon is like the really quiet, nerdy, like loser boy, and Alicia is the super popular, super hot. I don't even know how to properly explain to you how unexpected this pairing was for me. I was shook to my core. I think I even made a Tumblr page just for them. Like, it was a ship. Oh my god, wait. Simon and Alicia, Otis and Ruby, you know what? I see something here. I don't care what day you see this. I need books with this dynamic trope. I needed them yesterday, because like, what? Next up, we have our Grey's Anatomy pairings. Now, there are so many pairings in Grey's Anatomy. That show is going on 19 seasons now. Really, I could do a whole video on just like Grey's Anatomy pairings that I've liked, whether they were fleeting pairings or like hardcore pairings, but these are just the top two. Mark and Lexi, who are definitely like the couple that I just feel so sad about. I'm not gonna tell you what happens, but just know it does not have a happy ending. My main ship. The reason why I stopped watching the show. Oh my gosh. So you know this is serious. This is serious, everyone. This is very serious. Jackson and April, my pairing, my ship, the alts. I love them from the second that ship started. I could never understand why it became so complicated, because even though I think that they did focus a lot of the conversations between them when they were like thinking about getting together, they were serious topics that a couple should talk about, but at the same time, April and Jackson had always been good at talking to each other, and they were like really good friends, and so it just didn't make sense that all of a sudden these were things that they weren't capable of finding a compromise on, or like being able to talk sensibly to each other. Their whole relationship just reminds me of Speak Now by Taylor Swift. Really happy that like at the end of it, when Jackson was leaving the show, they were able to give them kind of an open ending together, where they're gonna go and live somewhere and probably be together and get married again. Have more babies. I'm just really happy for them. In my mind, that's what happens, and that's fact. The last pairing that I have for this, I don't even have to say much about them. That's how iconic they are. And of course, it is Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. Of course, my first way of falling in love with them was through the movie from 2005. I was obsessed. I knew love. I watched it every single time it came on Lifetime. My mother will tell you. it happened every single time. I would be there seated, just obsessed. Obsession. Are we shocked that I'm the way I am now? Yeah, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. What else is there to say? They're standard. That is everything for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed this. I also hope that you have a really great Valentine's Day, or whenever you're watching this. Let me know some of your favorite, most iconic couples from the same shows that I mentioned here, or whatever. Just let me know your favorite couples. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you have not already. Turn on alerts so you do not miss new videos. And that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. Bye! Only loving the dreams, baby. What can I do when I'm